Hello, everyone. I am Marie LaBrosse, and I am the host and, actually, the co host of Kaleidoscope of the Arts. Yes, you're listening to WKDW 97.5 FM, Real Community Radio. We're coming out of Northport, Florida, in sunny Florida. And while the rest of the world or the country here is in a cold, I think, Arctic little blast here. The rest of us down here, we are enjoying our time in the sun. But I'm in the house and I excuse the mess behind me. We were having some work done in our house and I just cannot uh, clean it up fast enough because I'm actually the chair of this event. So before we get started here, hopefully my co-host will join me, but I'm going to bring on our sponsor at first because Wendy Namick with Wendy Namick Portfolio Investment Professionals, we wouldn't be able to have her show. And she is the sponsor of this show, Kaleidoscope of the Arts, and she sponsors many other things for us, including our event this Saturday night, which is called Kaleidoscope of the Arts, an intoxicating evening of discovery into the arts of Northport. And what an appropriate name, Kaleidoscope of the Arts. I wonder where we got that from. So, hi, Wendy. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. It's getting hectic after the first of the year. Everything between Christmas and New Year's is usually pretty relaxed, but it's really starting to gear up. The markets have been crazy. People are saying, "Oh, well, let's take a look at this stuff again now." So I've got a lot of appointments going on and doing client reviews and portfolio management. So I'm having a good time, but I'm still not going out and about in public, and so I appreciate very much being able to talk with folks through the show.
Oh, well, and we're grateful for your sponsorship, but also what you do within the community, because I know you sponsor at the radio station and you sponsor at the Northport Arts Center, but you've been very generous within the community over the years and that. And appreciative of what Wendy did is she's a silver sponsor, and one of our other guests is coming on is a silver sponsor, but we want to talk about their business too and why different things. And I'm going to actually end up having Wendy probably co-host with me right now because our co-host isn't going to be here with us. And I want to bring up a very nice, good-looking guy. Oh, yes. And in case you were at the uh, Northport Area Chamber of Commerce Business Card Exchange, you would have seen him last night at the Security Alarm Corporation because that's his business and he's the president of that business. And we're going to talk a little bit about his business because Wendy, you're a customer of his business.
I am. I have been for, let me see. I think I switched over in 2019. So
we appreciate that, Wendy. Thank you for the business.
I appreciate being safe and secure. That's for darn sure.
Well, let's talk about your business, Justin. And Justin Albright owns Security Alarm Corporation, and it's actually only 5 blocks from my home. One of the reasons, and Justin, your background is you even have a law degree, don't you? Or you went to law school? Yeah. And so tell us a little background about you because you went to school here locally, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Yep, I grew up in the area, Charlotte High School, proud Charlotte High School graduate. Went off to the University of Florida, which the Steve Spurrier jersey in my background might tip that off, but go Gators. And in a prior life, I was going to be a tax attorney. It only took an internship of one summer for me to realize that wasn't necessarily going to be a great long-term fit for me and my energy level and personality. And so I took a different path, stayed in law school. I am a licensed attorney. I don't typically admit that out loud, Marie. So you outed me as a counselor now. But I don't practice. And so I got to this business by way of corporate banking and structured finance. So I was having a good time in that. It was a good market. We were putting together large lending facilities for businesses throughout the country. And I had my experience in the alarm industry by way of that. My family's business is Security Alarm Corporation. My grandfather started this in 1979. So I tell people, and I'm not lying, I've been in the business, I've been in the industry all my life. And so I have pulled wire. I have been on job sites. I've done everything and gone through all the aches and pains that my guys have. And I'm passionate about this industry. I'm passionate about this company and community, because it's all just so much, kind of it's woven into my fabric. Growing up here and coming back here, and coming back to the industry has just felt like coming home. So it really is an honor for me to take up the mantle of president of this wonderful organization. But it really is all about the team and the people that I have surrounded myself with here. And it really is a pleasure to go to work every day and work with this group.
And when you're talking about that, and Wendy, you can jump in anytime, because I know all of a sudden her ears perked up. I saw that happen. Like, oh my word. Yeah, she's a Gator fan there because she has her Gator cup. So we have two Gator fans here. And one of the things that I was a tax law, and knowing all that, that's a tough business, especially at changing every year with the tax laws and that. Now, Wendy, because of you being in financial planning, I know even when we have anybody, we have Raymond James as one of our sponsors this year. There's compliance issues all the time when you guys are in that type of business, even for putting out a logo or putting out ads. You would think that you could do that in the tax law. Were you able to, was there something that you couldn't do, that you had to go through and make sure that you were compliant with different things? I don't know. So I'm just asking. I'm just randomly asking this. Did I lose you? Or did you
Justin?
guys?
That was for Wendy?
No, that was for you. I mean, I have a lot of regulations that guide what we're allowed to do and not do from FINRA and the SEC, and we have a very active compliance department. And I'm very pleased to say I have never had a compliance issue, so that's all good. But yeah, it's tough because everything changes so rapidly, sometimes, but then something that was approved 2 years ago finally goes into effect. And I don't know how. I'm really glad I don't do taxes, and I don't, consult on that. And I'm very happy I can say, you need to talk to your tax consultant before, you answer those kinds of questions. So it's something we have to be very vigilant about, but we're not in control of it.
Yeah, and one of the things, Justin, I would think that as a tax lawyer, that you would have been, when somebody has an IRS coming after them, that you would have to represent them with the IRS at times.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that would happen?
That would have been my my bread and butter at that point, is just representing folks in front of that, and making sure, even more importantly, working with people like Wendy at the beginning to make sure that if you're dealing with people who have more complicated balance sheet or more complicated tax issues, then you want to have a holistic approach. All that would be part of that. Not to take away from that profession, but there's a lot of nuance. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of working parts, and I would think that being with your security company would be a lot more fulfilling too, when you're working with people, because you're making them safe. And I'm going to bring up on the screen, because Justin, I can. Your website here.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and we'll be able to talk about the different things in your company. Now, what do you offer to people? It's just not security alarms. What else? What else can people?
Quite a bit, actually, which presents challenges. But we do like to be one-stop shop, for lack of a better word. But so we offer, outside of your typical, burglar alarm systems. We handle fire alarms, so anything fire detection. We are getting into the distributed antenna or bidirectional antenna industry now. So allowing your life safety, your firefighters, EMT personnel, the ability to actually be able to communicate via radio inside of buildings that may be on fire is something that's really big for protecting our very precious part of our society, which are our first responders. But we do a lot of camera work as well. It's been an increasingly growing part of our product mix. Tons of surveillance work, anything from HOAs to single family homes to off-campus student housing. You name it, we've probably done a job like that. I've probably been on some of those, pulling the wire myself, not dressed this way, of course. We do our full smart home automation providers as well. So moving everybody to an app-based environment, improving your lifestyle around your home by using technology. So a lot of people think of us as just home security, but from the home security core, you kind of start to create an ecosystem for how can I make my business or my or any sort of facility, my house, easier to manage. So things like door locks, automating lights, thermostats are a really big one for us. Video doorbells. Everybody loves video doorbells. How else are you going to see the Amazon package on the front of the patio? So a lot of things. I could talk ad nauseum. We, it keeps us fresh here because we are in a lot of different technologies, and technology constantly changes. The only constant thing in technology is change. And so that keeps us fresh. It can be humbling at times. We do a lot of in-house work here. We've introduced non-Chinese manufactured camera manufacturers to our product set, and we are retiring, some legacy, Chinese anchored products as things in the industry change. Well, we do the investment piece. I spent the money to put a whole new system in of the same type of surveillance we'd be putting in for our customers here at our facility. So we use that as an opportunity to get R&D and get our heads wrapped around new stuff before we take it to the marketplace. So there's a lot going on here.
Well, let's talk about your call center. Go ahead, Wendy.
Well, I was going to say, I'm one of the traditional, alarmed door entrance window thing clients, and I'm really interested in getting I even bought doorbells and cameras, but have I been able to set them up? No, but I'm actually making the house more of a smart home. And I guess I need to call Mike and set an appointment to talk with him about how we can hook up video stuff and get me smarter in this part of the process, because I'm real concerned about it. The other part for me is that, since we are all going smart and everything, how secure is the security? I mean, what kind of encryption protection do you have from those bad actors out there who try to break in and steal information from us because they can access our our LED thing on the refrigerator for some people. So I'm just, I know a lot of people are very concerned about everything that's new, and smart homes is another portal that allows bad guys to enter and breach the security. So
it's a fair point. We deal with this all the time. When you introduce all these devices, that one thing they all have in common is that they're linked to the internet, to your local Wi-Fi, and so you are opening yourself up to more windows out there, right, to the internet, which is a dangerous place now, and it has been increasingly as of late. So that does create a lot of concerns for us. We, with new regulations over the last 24 months, we've made some decisions on product lines that, because of a list that they're on with the federal government as being sort of not good to be installed in a federal installation or facility, well, they know a lot more about the security concerns with these products than I do. So there's a reason for that, right? So we don't use products that end up on these blacklists, because if it's not good for putting into a federal installation, I can't sleep at night going out and putting it into anybody else's, facility, right, or your home. And so it's caused some friction, it's caused some change, but we are doing our best to stay up with that. And that does involve making large, broad organizational changes away from product sets because, oh my gosh, we've woken up and here we are in a adversarial relationship with one of our largest electronics manufacturers in the world.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing a lot of that because of the issues with China. I know that domestically it's become not only a supply chain issue, but a security issue because of the way the governments are different and the way that they work. So I'm glad to know you guys are on it. I'll give Mike a call and set up a time to get my system updated. I just got a new modem that was delivered yesterday because I needed to increase the speed at the broadband at the house as we get all these things going. So
good for you. You're already a step ahead of most. And one thing we talk through with our customers at the front end is, remember, we're going to put all this cool video and notification devices and HVAC control, but with that all is on the backbone of your local internet. So you've got to make sure you've got a strong connection. And so you've already done the right thing because that stuff uses bandwidth.
Oh, absolutely. Like even with us streaming right now, except what I use here doesn't go through mine. I just have to have a internet connection that's strong enough, and then they have it go through their own server. So that's one thing nice about StreamYard that we're using. Let's talk about, where is your call center? If I have a security system with you, where is that? Is it 5 blocks from my house?
It's 5 yards this direction to my left. And that was one thing I highlighted, last night in my quick kind of welcome to Security Alarm Corp is, on the other side of the threshold here, there's a door, and you go from sort of our main facility into a hurricane wind bunker. So it's a substructure within our office that, in the event of a really strong storm, that thing will be standing. Now, everything else might not be, but that's where the magic happens in there. And that's staffed 24/7, live local people. They answer our phones, they answer the alarm monitoring. They also do a lot of other value add services we provide to our commercial clientele. So all that happens there. And it's manned by, and I'm biased here, but probably the finest team in this industry we've assembled in the state of Florida. So those people are there. They're dedicated. They live, work, and play in the same communities we do. Your signals don't go overseas. It doesn't leave the United States. Everything's done here in Port Charlotte. We've put that investment in place. That is significant capital, but it shows you that we are dedicated. We are a part of this community, and having all of this here, on the border of Northport and Port Charlotte, we're not going anywhere. And so it's been 42 years. That's not going to change. We do manage our own call center. There are companies we compete with that are 10x our size, and they don't have those kind of resources. So for us, it allows us to fight above our weight class.
Well, that was one of the key factors in my decision to use you guys, is that it was a local call center and not, someplace else that we weren't going to be able to know whether or not they were going to be in service or anything. So I'm tickled. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm a happy customer. I like being a happy customer.
Me too. Music to my ears.
Yeah, and I didn't realize when I had sent Wendy the link to come on today, and I didn't know that you were a customer. So this just kind of was appropriate that she came on. Now, Justin, we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on with your business and that, because you have a broad band here, of so many different layers of what you do there. How many employees do you employ?
I believe we're at 46 now.
Wow.
Between our head office here in Port Charlotte, and we have a branch office in Bradenton.
Okay. Are you having the same issues that a lot of the other companies are with employees, getting quality employees or getting people to want to work? And and you don't have to answer that, because I know that we're actually streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter right now, besides live on the radio. And and by the way, we have 17,000 listeners on our radio, on this actual show. Who knew? who's out there listening to us? I don't
Excellent.
know. Yeah. So to answer that question, are you having seen the same type of issues that everybody else has seen?
We are, yeah, we are. We're certainly not above feeling that pain. It is a challenge. A bias again. I think we've put things in place. My management team, have put things in place to give us an edge. We've instituted a really robust new team member orientation process where you essentially get assigned a buddy during your onboarding process here, unheard of at a company of our size. But in a competitive labor environment, I've got to have every single advantage I can outside of just pay, which we are competitive there, but we've got to be creative. So getting a new team member onboarded the right way, getting them started with a good support structure here so that they don't get lost in our shuffle, because we do move at high speed. That's been a real strong thing for us to put into place. And training, we've doubled our investment in training, and it is an investment, but it does cost money and time. And we're spinning people up quicker now than we ever have. And we have more complicated and more product sets than we ever have. So that is a testament to, okay, we said we were going to have this, continuing excellence or continuing education program. This is what we want it to look like. Of course, in reality, it's a little bit different, but it's working, and so it's not prevented us from growing the product lines or changing, and we're getting our new folks up to speed quicker. So these are ways that we're trying to combat the issue. And I think we do a really good job of hiring here, and we do experience lower than industry turnover rates even in this environment.
Terrific.
Yeah, that is terrific, because I know of so many people out there that are struggling keeping people. And I think you've hit on the key too, Justin. Training. I used to be a store manager for a big retail store. And one of the things is, when I first started with them, we invested in our employees, and everybody felt like they were a family. And that really made a difference on loyalty, because it didn't matter as much about the pay as being loyal to your employees, and they become loyal to you. And then also having the respect of listening to what they have to say. And we used to do a birthday breakfast once a month that everybody, different departments did things. And I know in your environment, you probably can do something like that. However, just the value and taking the time to train, because everybody has different learning styles and also management styles. So, and Wendy and I had both done Gulf Coast Leadership Institute, and she was in the original class that started up in Northport, but the Gulf Coast Community Foundation took it over. And one of the things that they teach, or that you go through, is Myers-Briggs training. I should have had that when I was like 20 years old, because I always thought it was about me. Everything I took personal, when people were doing things. And I found out, like the lawyer, probably you think about the end result, and a lot of times the accountants hate working with people like me, because I want to bring everybody along with me. Come on, guys. And I want everybody's ideas. And a lot of times when you're different, learning with different leadership styles, you have to learn how to work with different leaderships. Right, Wendy?
Yes, and it helps with just working with people too. It's not, everybody's got a different style, and some people need to, like you said, talk about a whole lot of different things. So we take the long way around, the issue to get to where we need to be. But that's, what my job essentially is okay, figuring out where are we. You tell me where you want to be, and it's my job to figure out how to get there from here. And that may sound pretty simple, but it's a complicated process, and everybody has a different way that they want to approach it. And so I think that ties right in with the leadership, and that's been a real, I think I still, I'm very close with several other folks that went through that training. And we did that in 2006. That was the first leadership institute that was done. They did the first 2 years here in Northport, and then they moved the operation. The Gulf Coast Community Foundation did all of it, but they opened it up regionally and moved the operations out of Northport necessarily, but up to Venice, and now take people from the region. And it's a terrific program, and it doesn't cost anything, but it is a big time commitment for over about an 8-week period. Yeah. And it's super. And then once you've done that, if you want to do additional training for board leadership, you've done that one too, Marie, haven't you?
They accepted me the first time that they were doing it, and I couldn't. My time commitment, I couldn't do it. But I've been through a lot of board leaderships, and I've encouraged people to go ahead and do that. Justin, talking about boards, are you on any boards at this time?
At this time, no board service currently.
Okay, well,
did I just admit that out loud? That was a trap, Marie.
When we're talking about different leadership styles, though, Justin, I really do know that you have a really good leadership style.
Thank you.
And even background, because you wouldn't have as many employees, or you wouldn't have grown. And that takes a real skill set to be able to actually build a team and keep on building that team and getting bigger with products, because you have to trust the people that you have in place, because you can't do it all yourself. So you have different team leaders or managers in different locations, just like your Mike. All of us know him in the community, and we all trust him, and he's a good guy. He really is.
Yeah.
And he is out there representing you, pretty much. And he's now up in the Bradenton office that he's actually, is he in charge of that up there?
Yeah. So Mike was promoted. He's our business development manager for our North office, and he oversees everything north of essentially Northport to Tampa. And so any given day, we've got them in Polk County or Pinellas, or even nowadays we're going up as high as Pasco and Hernando.
Wow.
So we've given him a really, really large pond to fish in, and he's definitely filling up the boat. So I'm ecstatic. I just saw his numbers. We're doing our end of year postmortem, and then we're doing our 2022 planning. And from when I started here, call it 2.5 years ago to now, the magnitude of the numbers we're talking about, and I'm a numbers guy. So I can geek out over this stuff, but it's like what we're talking about today versus what we were talking about when I started here is exciting. And I'll be straight with you. In those numbers, a very small amount of them I was involved in closing or getting that business in the house. Again, a testament to the team, and the way you put it, Marie, I couldn't have said it better. I can't be everywhere all at once. And, you got to delegate to elevate. And so in this business, you cannot be a control freak. And I am. So I'm learning that of the leadership aspect. But having people like Mike on board, I'm blessed.
You really are. And I understand to be a control freak, because I think 3 of us in this room sometimes like to have that type of personality that you do that. Even with the event that we're doing right now, the Northport Arts Center has never done an event like we're doing, and it's performance art with visual art and culinary art and literary art, and we're all doing it all in one evening. And to put together an event with performance, I brought in some of my background people for doing performance art to stage people to help move them, because I know that visual artists don't know how to do that. That's not their wheelhouse. Don't put me with the paintbrush and have to set up stuff, because I'm not that person. Even though I'm the vice president of the organization, I'm also the fundraising chair for them and the radio station. That I know how to do, right, Wendy?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I know where my leadership styles are, because I have become older. Something happens in your world, and all of a sudden you were here, this 20-year-old, and all of a sudden you're up in your 70s. So those things happen. Justin, as your what is your ultimate, do you see in the future, do you have a plan, a 5-year plan that you want to be at, your benchmark?
We do, yeah, and a lot of that just being my nature, as an accountant, by training, a lot of that just is financial, and so for us, it doesn't get anybody super excited. But if we wanted to look at geographies, we want to be a top five provider for the markets we choose to be in, and I define that as, call it Hernando County north south to Collier, so West Florida. West Florida is certainly a big enough market for us to spread our wings and grow. The Tampa Bay area itself, which has swallowed up Sarasota now, that metro area is going to rival the San Francisco Bay Area in short order. The way the migration's happening now, with over 1,000 new folks moving to Florida a day, we're pretty spoiled to have a market like Lakewood Ranch, right in our backyard, because that you can't go wrong there. And it's been that way, and it's not going to change. And it's a vibrant community that's got a lot of good underpinnings there. And so a great opportunity for us. And yeah, we're going to probably have another branch office or two in that 5-year time horizon as well. And what's important to me is stick to our knitting, stay true to our humble roots from 42 years ago, on Harbor Boulevard and 41 in Port Charlotte. We try not to depart too much from put the customer first. If we do the right thing for the customer, everything else will kind of fall into place, and it works that way for us, simply put. Aside from financial, milestones, that's where we're at. Become a top 5 player in this large geography, continue to grow organically, and of course, continue our aggressive acquisition platform and program that we've put together, as evidenced by us closing 3 transactions in 2021, and we're already in due diligence in the first quarter of 2022. As odd as it sounds to say that, on some acquisition activity as well. So we are not afraid to buy companies that have a similar culture to us, and we kind of know that if we look at their gene pool and ours, that by osmosis, these people are going to fit right in here, and that's been a great way for us to achieve our growth goals as well.
Are you looking at ever doing franchising of your company?
So we are actually. That's a really good question too. We just announced in a couple of papers locally, business press, that we have launched sort of a franchisee model. It's more just a joint venture model. And we have a partner that I've known for a while that we've picked in Virginia, and so we have launched, kind of a small version of us in Virginia with the same product set. We're bringing our same expertise and all the industry pain and learning we've been through. We're able to give that to our upstart up in Virginia, and sharing resources, and we monitor their signals here in our call center for our customer base up there now. And so that's new for us. We just went live with that at the end of last year, and it's exciting. And we're actually booking some revenue this month, so that's always good too.
Well, that's really interesting, because I didn't even know that, and just knowing you and knowing where you're going and where you're headed, and you're the numbers guy, I kind of think that it'll be very successful.
Thanks,
now,
Mary.
Wendy, with Justin, and you're a numbers girl too. What are you seeing here? And the business too, because you're a customer.
Yes, I'm just thrilled with hearing all of that, because it's very comforting to know that good operations are able to not only survive right now, but thrive in this environment. And I'm delighted to hear all about the developments that they have going on. That's terrific. And heck, I hope that you beat out all the majors, Okay. So I'm going to be a cheerleader, and I'm thrilled to hear about Mike's promotion, and that's great too. I guess I'm going to have to talk to somebody else now other than Mike, but that's okay.
No.
So but yeah, it's got to be a challenging environment too. I mean, I want to cross over into smart home, but I'm also very conscious about the security issues. And I have a home office, and our firm, for instance, on a security standpoint, they have tremendous tech support, and I have to operate behind a firm firewall. So that sort of protects me from a lot of things as long as it's hooked up. Yeah, anything that gets hooked up through that is protected. But if I'm smart homing stuff, it's going to go through the regular Wi-Fi, not through the security. But my understanding is that there's not going to be any shared information between those two things because of the security of the firewall. So anyhow, I'm just delighted to know that you guys are doing so well and are making a bigger footprint in the area. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have stock, or how do you? I shouldn't be asking this on the air, but because I know we had an LLC. We ran as an LLC for our business that we owned, a water well drilling business. But I know some companies, and I don't know the structure because I think you're Inc. Aren't you an INC?
We are, yeah, and it's 100% owned by me. So all the decision making is,
yeah, that's nice.
In these four walls here.
Yeah, that's nice because sometimes when you get boards and different people, and then you
shareholders,
have
yes.
Yeah, and everybody has different ideas, so you keep it that way, Justin. Yeah, because I know how business can be, and especially if you even end up having partners, and that doesn't most of the time work out as well as everybody thinks, even if it's family.
If our shareholders aren't happy with the president and CEO of this organization, it's real easy to fire them. So no, we didn't take any outside equity. We don't have any private equity overlords to answer to. We are growing in a way that, companies that would have private equity involved are by way of acquisition. We're doing it a little bit different and back to stick to the knitting. You know what I mean? It's while we're doing a lot of stuff where we're fighting above our weight class and we're growing pretty aggressively, we're also involved in this kind of stuff. What we've done last night with the Northport Area Chamber, you cannot lose sight of what made you great and what got you there. And that is still just it's being plugged in to your vibrant community. And we lead with what's best for the customer and what are we in the business of? Well, we're your partner in protection. So we lead every conversation, every business decision is always what's the best way and most secure way we can deliver this service to our customer.
Last night at your business card exchange, thank goodness it wasn't pouring out, because he had one last June? Was it in June last
year? Yeah, I know it got rained out.
And it poured. And
yes.
He has a nice tent, and you had about half the people at that one last summer. And I felt so bad because they had all this food but it was actually really pouring. But I was there. Hey, like I said, they're only 5 blocks from my house, so no excuse. But last night you had a lot of people there, a lot of hosts, and you had great food. Where was the food from?
Food was from Prime Steakhouse, which is the affiliate with Donato's.
Boca Lupa. Yeah.
A very good client of ours. We always like to patronize those that patronize us. So of course, and their food's fantastic. So it's
their food is fantastic. And I want to do a shout out to Dennis and David Valentino. They are personal friends of mine, but they're also givers, and they're very quiet givers. A lot of people don't realize how much they do for the community. They take all 3 of their Boca Lupa restaurants every Tuesday, and they do Pizza for a Cause. And Pizza for a Cause is the way that David, where you go into a restaurant and people do fundraisers for a nonprofit, and you hand them a slip of paper and they staple it to your bill, and that organization gets a percentage of that proceeds from the sale. Well, David and Dennis decided that's too much paperwork. So what they do is every Tuesday, they take all 3 of their Boca Lupa coal-fired pizza restaurants, and there are 2 in Northport. One's up by Welland Park by the Atlanta Braves Stadium, and one's in the Murdoch Carousel building. Isn't that Murdoch? Yeah, I think it's there. And then they have one in Northport close to Seaport Optometry. And they pick a nonprofit or an organization each week, and they give them, and I think it's like 10% of the proceeds for the day. I know the radio station at one time when there was only two, just for us being chosen that day, we received a check from them for about $700. And they
Wow.
encourage, so anytime that you're going out to eat at Boca Lupo, Coal Fire Pizzas, or any of their restaurants, realize that they do give back. Their Haul at the Moon 5K race that they do, they always pick somebody that gets that money, somebody that's going through cancer or for a fund. And then I know that they have one with the Kia dealership coming up in March too. They're quiet about doing this stuff, though. They're not out there raising their flag and saying, hey, look at us, we're doing this. And I get them, I've tried many a year to get them to come on my show. And I got Dave one time for Giving Tuesday just to come on and talk a little bit, but they don't like to shout about it. But I want to do a shout out. And they picked the Northport Arts Center February 15th. So on February 15th, if you go into any of your local Boca Lupo coal-fired pizzas, we'll get part of the proceeds there.
Do they will they honor it for takeout also?
Yes,
awesome?
Any of the proceeds. He doesn't want to mess with the bookkeeping on it. He just goes for the sales of the day. So
Great.
And that's actually a great thing. Now, Justin, we're going to talk about you because we just got through talking about David and Dennis and how great they are, and they're a customer of yours. So that's good because they do own actually 6 now restaurants. They just opened up a Prime Steakhouse up in Venice, right in I think it's right on the Business 41 in the corner of Miami. I think that's where it's at. And with that being said, Justin, tell me about why you decided to become a sponsor for Kaleidoscope of the Arts. Was it my browbeating? No.
I'd be remiss not to give you credit, but it does fit into our focus on staying close to the community. We don't have large budgets to generate awareness, by way of Facebook or online storefront. We're still very much who we are. You see us at Publix on the weekends, and we're people to do. There's more of a connection there. So being plugged into the community through events like this are important to us. I think appreciation of the arts is key ingredient for a vibrant community, and Northport's very much on a growth track. You're very much seeing it mature into a large community, and that's going to be the reality of it. And so having these opportunities in the local community to go appreciate the arts and the local artists, is a no-brainer for us.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because one of my visions, this is my vision, and I'm trying to take people along with it. Even though I live in Charlotte County, I've been involved with a lot of things that have been happening up in Northport since like 2016. So I've been trying to move things forward. And one of the things is I'm a lover of the arts. I'm not an artist myself. I'm not a performing artist. However, I'm a business person, and I understand the richness of having art within your community, because when people relocate, even businesses, or relocate to retire or relocate for any of the things like that, they look at what is around for my family or for me to do, or our employees. And that one of the things is the arts. And a lot of people, sometimes they don't think about that. But if you look, how does Sarasota thrive? The arts in the Sarasota County brings in $400 million a year, and they're one of the largest employers of people in Sarasota County. And I know that's kind of hard to believe because you have a lot of medical and different things. But if you look at Sarasota City and that area there, it is, I think, the best small city in the United States for actually having the arts, and that it tells you something. And Wendy, I know you have something to say.
Well, yeah, you can see me like try to take my
Yeah.
breath here. Part of it too is that we have one of only 3 combined statistical metropolitan data areas between Port Charlotte and Northport, and Northport is actually the lead, and it started showing up on the maps when you look up the statistical things, and that's when we started to see a lot of national corporations and franchisees start paying attention to, hey, Northport is here because they're showing up on the top of the list. But part of the thing that brings them here, or hopefully will bring them here, is the quality of life issue, and that's huge where the arts are concerned and the environment are concerned. So we're growing with that. But there is, I'm bringing this up because you say you've been dealing, you've been from Port Charlotte, but you've been dealing with Northport. But that's great because really, we all go to Port Charlotte from Northport to do shopping, and my dentist is there because I love them. Hurston Medical or Hurston Dental, they're great. So it is a shared community, and it's great to have those of us who are working on both sides of, there's no boundary here, and it's just why the Northport Area Chamber of Commerce is important, because it's not just Northport. And Northport is the single largest geographic and by population city in Sarasota County. We are larger than the incorporated part, the designated city of Sarasota, but not obviously the unincorporated area, which has a population, last time I looked, about 360,000. So, we're ultimately, Northport over the next 10, 20 years is not going to be a quiet little town anymore. It's going to be pretty good sized city with an anticipated population of about 250,000, which scares the Beetlejuice out of a lot of people who have been here for 20 years and just want it to stay, nice and quiet. Well, okay, that's just not going to happen anymore,
Yeah, and I imagine, Justin, that's one of the numbers that you're looking at too, at the growth of the area and how many more people you're going to be requested to service. And I can just see your company, because all of us are security conscious now. Everybody, or most of us, have whether it's security systems through you, or we have Ring, or we have Bling, or whatever all of them are called out there. I wish I had Bling. No, I've never been a jewelry person. I want to talk to who's your guest? Who are you bringing with you Saturday night, Justin?
It'd be Alyssa, my girlfriend.
Okay, and are you dressing in costume?
I knew that question.
Are you coming as yourself?
I knew I wasn't going to be able to get out of this without that one. So I've been racking my brain. I mean, I don't know. That's a hard one.
Just come as yourself. I don't want pressure put on people, but I know there's a lot of people out there that like to dress. Because of what I'm doing, I can't. I didn't put together a costume, but what I will be is wearing different hats, and I have like bright colored stockings, and I'm be wearing my tie-dye shirt and stuff, because I'll be running around or wheeling around, whatever the case may be. But when you're a chair of something, you really don't have time to really kind of stop and rest and stuff. One of the things that I do want to let everybody know is we have gone virtual with this too. It's a hybrid event. So if you feel uncomfortable for coming, and I know Wendy, we're going to get her the virtual code that we'll be sharing with all the people that either purchased their code or have decided that they already purchased, or she's a sponsor and doesn't feel comfortable being with a group of people. You can actually go to the website. It's actually the Northport Arts Center. And I'm going to bring up with the landing page. It's northportartcenter.org. And this is what the landing page looks like when you land on it. And then where you see that little red arrow, I know it's real small to see there, learn more about the fundraiser. When you click on that, you land on this page. And when you look at that, you just scroll down as you're going down, it tells you what kind of food you get. Filet mignon and skewered rosemary shrimp and dessert and all. And I actually had to tell them what to do for the dessert. They had ice cream desserts. I'll get messy and stuff, but these are so I ordered a limoncello mascarpone cake thing because I thought it'd be easier to eat. But if you look here, it right here it says purchase tickets today, and I hope it'll take me to the right page there. Virtual tickets, and thank you to Seaport Optometry. They are covering the cost on that one. So if you're going to purchase tickets either way, the plantation is letting us give them numbers even Friday. I just talked to them before we came on the show because COVID has been affecting a lot of people's events, and they said they can accommodate us. So in case you're on the fence post about coming, you still can buy your ticket here for the in-person one, or you can go for the virtual one. And we would love to see you either way. And there are exciting things. It's going to be hopefully an event that people have never seen before, because we have a comedian as our auctioneer, and we have because we have live art auction of about 11 pieces worked in between as transitions. Justin, the reason it's called Intoxicating Evening of Discovery into the Art of Northport, because I know some people want to drink there. I just got but you're embracing the arts, and intoxicating even can mean the smell of things too. And we have a surprise, and I'll say it here. We have a Muppet puppet that'll be interacting with the auctioneer and MC during the evening. So that'll be really, really fun thing. And then Jill Luke is going to be our Vanna White on that. Besides all the other entertainment going on, we're going to have a good time. And we're introducing people they didn't know that Northport had all these arts. Right. The chorale, the concert band, the symphony, rock box, school, music school, and stage. Common Grounds Meeting Hall, which is part of the radio station, that we have those places.
There's a new music lesson place that just became a chamber member. I can't remember the name of it.
The ribbon cutting that was going on. But with all that being said, we only have a few minutes left that we'll have to go off air because we are actually live on air. And we'd like to thank all of our audience for literally coming on today, watching us and listening to us, either way that you did it. Without you, we wouldn't be, because we need an audience. Justin, without them, you wouldn't have customers. So we're all grateful for the things that you do within your community. Thank you, Justin Albright, for coming on today from Security Alarm Corporation. And thank you for being a sponsor for Kaleidoscope of the Arts and Intoxicating Evening of Discovery into the Arts of Northport. And you too, Wendy Namick, for always being there as a sponsor, not only for the event, but for
it's my pleasure.
The radio station. Again, everybody, this is Marie LaBrosse signing off from WKDW 97.5 FM, Rural Community Radio out of Northport, Florida. You guys all have a nice and safe day. See you again next